Hi writers, welcome back to Fantasy Writing Session 7. Today we'll be working on revising our drafts. At this point you should have completed your draft, if not gotten very close to completing it. If you have not finished it, that is okay. You will be finishing it today and working on revising it. It's very important that you do get that as near as you can to finished because we only have just a few more sessions left and we're starting with revising today. So don't freak out if you haven't finished it, but today would be a very good day to work on finishing that up. So we're going to be revising our drafts. So let's take a look at our slides for today. As I said, today's lesson 7, we're working on revising and adding details. Picturing details, personal connection. My sister recently redecorated her living room. She was trying to describe it to me over the phone. She was not doing a good job as she was being so general. We had to FaceTime so I could actually see what it looked like. My sister was using words like, oh, yeah, I put a carpet. I had my bed in the corner. I had a new dresser. I wasn't able to really imagine what those objects looked like until I saw it on FaceTime. So you want to make sure that when you are writing a story, your reader is able to imagine exactly what you're seeing in your head, so that you don't have to FaceTime them. Remember, stay in the moment. It's important in every story that the writer stays in the moment, whenever possible, by writing in scene with action, thoughts, dialogue, etc. So make sure that you're including actions, you're including characters' personal thoughts, you're including dialogue. This all goes along with being descriptive and using that descriptive language and setting the scene, painting that picture for your reader. So just like you might not be able to imagine what somebody else is seeing in their head, you're also not able to hear their thoughts, and you don't know what was said unless the dialogue was told to you. So it's very important that you also say in your story what the characters are thinking and what they're saying in their interactions with each other. So that's where the dialogue comes in. Put your imagination into words. So we can't FaceTime our stories, obviously. We cannot just write in summary. This is even more crucial in fantasy because so much of the story comes from the writer's imagination. So nothing can be taken for granted. Something as simple as a table that in realistic fiction people could completely understand needs to be described if it's important or different. So is the table actually a magical creature? Is it made from a sacred wood? Does it talk? These are things that the reader needs to be shown, not just told. You don't want your reader to look like this as they're reading your story. Huh? What's going on? Make sure you're being descriptive. When we say shown, not told, we mean use that descriptive language to explain what this table looks like. Don't just say, oh yeah, they were at the table. What kind of table was it? Was it an old oak table that came from the original settlers of the town? Make sure that you're elaborating on all of those small details. That's what really makes the story engaging and captivating. Assuming your reader understands your fantasy story is an error. You have to write in details that leave no room for the reader to be anywhere other than the world you've created. You want to make sure that they're captivated and imagining this picture inside their heads. So think of an object that appears in your story. Find that part in your story and revise it by describing the object in detail. Don't skim over the details that make the object magical and important. So your task for today is to go back to your story, find an object in your story that needs to be described using greater details. So maybe you said the magic wand or the magic table or the magic lantern. Okay, what kind of table, wand, or lantern is it? What does it look like? Find that part in your story and go back and revise it. Remember, boys and girls, when we're revising our writing, it means that A, we're adding to our story, details, being more descriptive, but we could also be taking out details. Remember, we've talked a lot about making sure that you stay focused within your story and that you don't go off on different tangents. If you find that your sentences are a little bit too wordy or confusing, then you might want to revise that and take some of those words out so that it's a little bit clearer for your reader. My best advice is always to read it out loud to somebody else. So if you have mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, your cousin, friend, anybody you can read it to out loud, that will help you see the parts where maybe you need to add a little bit more description. Maybe you have a run-on sentence. Maybe you were too wordy and you need to take some of that out so it's a little bit clearer. Reading it to somebody else allows them to ask you questions and say, what did that treasure chest look like? What made it so special? What made it magical? Okay, so reading it with somebody else helps you to find those pieces that need to be revised. After you have revised it, you're going to highlight the part that you revised. If you revised multiple parts, fantastic. Try to find as many parts within your story as you can to go back and revise. And when you make those revisions, you're going to highlight those words. And then you're going to attach that draft to this assignment. So what I mean by that, for instance, if you highlight, say I changed these words, okay, and I ended up changing it to be more descriptive. You're going to come up to the highlight color and pick a highlight, okay? Make sure that it's easy to read. So I might not want to do yellow on white words, but that's just an example, okay? So you're going to highlight wherever you edited and revised, and then you're going to go back to the assignment, and you're going to insert your Google Slides as an attachment. So you know how to add an attachment, insert your Google Slides. It will be called your storybook template. So remember from session 6, you have your storybook template. That's the file that you're going to attach. So you may have to go back to that, continue revising, and then attach it to this assignment, okay? All right, well, make sure that you're going back, including lots of details, editing and revising, and let us know if you have any questions.